there's just so much noise in life. So many things grabbing at you, screaming at you, trying to give you anxiety, trying to give you a sense of obligation. You feel like you're not the one in control of you. You have this duty to everything. You're supposed to do all sorts of things. You're pulled in every direction. It's like that that scene in Night at the Museum. That Indian execution method, just pulling someone apart. But this noise that we get used to, right? Especially if you grew up autistic or something like that. You're always doing something wrong. There's always something you forgot to do. There's all these duties everywhere. And then you start up one of these video games, and it's kind of the same thing. Did you remember to talk to that NPC? They're the ones that give you the item that lets you progress. Do you remember to look at that cutscene? Can you make it over this pit? Oh, don't worry. If you can't, we've got our guy that'll do it for you. You know? Our guy is going to do it for you. You know, isn't this game so fun? Isn't it so fun? The way you're zooming past everything, the way you're carrying out the very obvious conclusions. It's just a matter of, can you get the skill down, right? The solution has already been spelled out for you in advance. All you need to do is execute it. But then, at some point you may come across one of these games that just leaves you the fuck alone. And it hits you so deep. A game where you can just explore at your pace. No one's trying to get your attention. Sure, you gotta defend yourself against enemies, but there are no demands placed on you. Right. The only thing there is serenity and a puzzle. Something to think about, something to contemplate in the stillness. A game that doesn't hold your hand. It's not there to pacify you. It's not there to give you a sensation that you are being a helping hand, that you're giving of yourself to others. No. It's a game that simply lets you be. It has a certain set of challenges, but it doesn't push you at them. You know, you take those steps yourself. You're not being led. You're not being led, right? And something amazing happens in you with this sort of game. In this experience that is unlike anything you've had in your life, your real life. It doesn't put those demands on you. Not the same way that other games do. It doesn't distract you. It doesn't simply ask you to perform the obvious, but with high skill, right? So why doesn't a game like Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario World, why don't they emit this same feeling, right? Why do they not feel like they leave you alone? Could it be all the fanfare in between? Could it be the fanfare? The difference between the way that a Mario game hits your soul versus the way a Metroid game or some other immersive, slow-paced game hits your soul, right? Because I think what really starts to happen is these Mario and Sonic games, they set the pace for you. They have a required pace. There's a timer, you know? There is enemies, there's falling platforms, there's bottomless pits, there are plenty of things which are there for a platforming challenge. They set the pace. The idea is, can you be agile enough to make it through this obstacle course? Are you dexterous enough to control your character to make it through the obstacle course, right? Metroid isn't like that. Not all the time. Not as its primary, right? Sure, there may be platforming challenges, but they're not going to set you back a life and say, oh, too bad, buddy, try this again. No, that's not how Metroid works. That's not how these immersive games work. No. These immersive games, the way that they differentiate themselves isn't just by not holding your hand, but also by letting you set the pace. You can go slow, right? You can go slow. The point is, it's up to you. You can sit there and appreciate the world. That's what an atmospheric game does. It lets you find that calm, that peace. It lets you set your pace. Not a lot of games do that. Not a lot of games give you that choice. This is why. This inness, this joy of solitude, this sort of quality of some of my favorite games of all time, right? It hits your soul, right? After living a life of constant demands, after playing so many games which set the agenda for you, whether it be setting the pace, holding your hand, giving you these challenges of execution. Oh, that's the thing right there. Think that. It's a challenge. The game is there to expect you to perform, to navigate the fast-paced challenge. You start Super Mario Brothers. Already, the clock is ticking down. Already, there's an enemy coming straight for you. Okay. You play Zelda. You know, it's a little bit more immersive, right? It's gonna have that feeling. It will. But then, so much of the game is around what NPCs have to say. You know, it's around what you're doing for other people. You're doing quests. You're fulfilling quests. You're there to save somebody. Or something, I don't know. Right? But then you get through the prologue of Super Metroid, right? They've set that up too, right? But past that prologue, it's just you, the rain, and the planet. You know? The pace is yours to set. Like, yeah, Ocarina of Time. Here's the thing about these Zelda games, right? They've got some of that immersive quality, but in the meantime, they've got a story to tell. They've got characters to interact with. They've got cinematics. They've got tasks for you to complete. You know? The reason you can't go somewhere isn't because you physically couldn't. It's because someone else is stopping you from it. You know, someone else is who's not even an enemy, right? Someone who's supposed to be on your side. They're saying, no, it's not time for that. Kind of mirrors the way your parents talk to you, right? You're so busy being molded throughout your life, being denied, you know, being pushed to do things you don't want to do, and it's just so important to have video games that let you take that wheel, that let you say, for you to do what you want to do, all you need to do is make sure you can. That's it. It's not about whether or not someone wants you there. It's about whether or not you actually physically are capable of being there. You know? That's what it is. I want to get into what it really feels like to start up one of these games, right? Completing things at your own pace, sure. That was more like a high-level view, but just like on the immediate level of just how the game immediately hits you. Like, just imagine, like, I don't know, you've been stressed out lately. There's so many people you have to please in life. There's, like, all these requirements, like, for paperwork or tax information or anything like that you have to go through. You might have stuff for work you have to do, people you have to tolerate, and then you come back and you play one of these games, and just being hit with, once the game actually starts and you have control of your character and you just sit there absorbing that fact, the game has no cutscenes to, like, throw at you anymore. It's just you and the environment and the means that the game has given you to interact with it. And you hear maybe the environmental ambience of the room, and you just start taking a few steps. Maybe the music is a bit softer than typical video game fashion, right? Maybe you're walking through your Talon overworld in Metroid Prime, or your forest biome in Minecraft, or even a horror game. Even if you were to be walking through, I don't know, some kind of like the spooky haunted house in Visage, or the alien planet in Scorn, you're immediately just hit with the reality that it just feels like another place that you are in this game, because it doesn't freaking present itself to you like a movie. It's presenting itself to you with all these affordances, all these actions you could take. You're seeing a reality there. It's not taking control away and presenting you with something. It's giving you just potentials everywhere. That doesn't happen with a film or a book or something. Just having these action potentials everywhere, and you're just here appreciating that. The rain is falling down on your visor or something, or like whatever, and you start moving the control stick forward, and it's just like, I don't know, it just, the scale of the game just hits you, man, like, and, you know, you can have this sort of feeling being evoked by imagery, or by a film. Like, if you sit and watch Blade Runner 2049, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel that sort of, I don't know, isolation, that solitude, that joy of solitude. It's not necessarily like, haha, happy. No, it's more just like soothing type feeling. Just like, holy shit, finally some peace, some silence. You know, certain parts of Blade Runner 2049, or, okay, certain parts of, or certain image, holy shit. Certain parts of Blade Runner, or certain pieces of art, some visual medium can evoke this sort of, if you imagine yourself there, right? If you really see just the vastness of some of these places being depicted. I'm going to mute my phone. Okay. So interrupted my train of thought. So the vastness that you see when you're seeing one of these images, it's just that understanding that reality doesn't force you, if that makes sense. Reality isn't nagging you. It simply is, and you simply are, and you can go forth and gain what it is that you want out of life. You know? You're not pulled forward by a sense of, well, I guess I have to. No. You're seeing this wonder in front of you, this just beauty, and you're going forth, and, you know, in these Metroidvanias, you're collecting things, you're getting greater abilities, and if you maintain that slow pacing, you know, you don't treat it like a sport, you treat it more like just an art piece that you're experiencing, right? My buddy Felix, he likes to say, you treat every room like it's a diorama. Like, there's so many details to see, because that's the case. In these games, well, maybe not as much like with procedurally generated games, but even still, like, there's still beauty to be seen. You just see the handcrafted beauty of these rooms in these games. I think even with procedural, right, there's still a beauty to be discovered. Even in nature, right? I think if you're taking an ultimate stance here, procedurally generated game content is still handcrafted game content. You know, it's just by a different means than hand placing everything, right? It's by, you know, randomizers. But you, the artist, are the one who tells the randomizers, who tells, not the randomizer, it tells the game how to interpret the randomness, you know? There's a reason that Minecraft's procedural worlds don't look all fucked up most of the time. Like, there was care put into how the game interprets the RNG of the seed of the procedural generation, and it does lead to some cool vistas, right? And there's beauty to be found there. And so, like, yeah, if you take your game, that's why people go back to beta Minecraft, by the way. Like, it takes away your sprinting, it takes away a lot of the checklists of Minecraft that have been kind of periodically introduced. It just, the only thing in beta, or better than adventure, or whatever version you're playing, like, having it be just you and your imagination for the type of, like, spaces you like to build out in your world, the type of art you're making. You are an artist in Minecraft, you know? That's why I like to play the game. You should see my survival world. Yeah, it's cool. I've been watching videos by this guy Dialco, who has really reinvigorated a lot of people's love for the game, because he's getting at kind of the core of why it was fun back in the day. So yeah. So that's kind of the experience I'm trying to like outline here of what it feels like to really just let the game hit you. Like, stop being so like like it's kind of like you have your guard up or something. If you're like just running through and clearing off the checklist, you're treating it like it's supposed to be. Same kind of task that you get so often in real life. Right? People always wanting shit from you. You know? And you treat the game that way too. Oh, the game wants this from me. No, man. No, you don't need that. You don't even need to finish the game. You don't even need to, like, play it every day. You don't even need to call it a failure if you just quit after the first few minutes. You know, if you get something out of the game, it's all about just the experiential wonder that you get from the game. Like, that's what these are. You know, they are ends in themselves. They're not means to any sort of end. Like, if your end goal is, oh, I gotta clear my backlog, then like you're gonna treat like the credits as if it's some special thing over and above the whole rest of the game. Like, that's kind of like a microcosm of how people are kind of treating life as well. They're trying to get to the end credits of life too. It's sad. But I've seen people making this shift in their thinking, where they're trying to move towards living in the moment, being mindful, getting rid of the doom scrolling, getting rid of these aspirations towards the end of your life, as if that's the end goal. Which, it's like, you're not allowed to be happy until you've hit retirement, or until you've gotten married, or until you've this and that. Like, no, you can be happy right now, bro. You can just, literally, if you just... I noticed this last night, right? I was very tempted. I had spent all day in VC with other people, like, kind of like following their agenda. I mean, I kind of enjoyed myself, right? I was just hanging out with people, but I wasn't making very many choices myself. I was just kind of existing. And so, like, that night, I had the idea, like, dude, I'm just gonna go watch some Simple Flips. I'm gonna eat some chips, and I'm gonna veg out a little bit, as they say. I'm gonna basically, that was my temptation to kind of doom scroll. Not that Simple Flips is not a great YouTuber and a great, thing to watch. It's just, the reason I was watching it was because I was so used to the mindless, like, just throw something on so I don't have to be in silence, Like, but what I did instead was I started to sit there in my own silence, and I started to pace, and I put on my music. And, the music I was listening to, I have this, like, collection of ambient soundscapes that similar to some of the music you'll find in, like, Metroid games, or like any of these Zen sort of experiences, right? And it's so soothing, man. That in itself is an experience. Just pacing my apartment with that music going and not requiring anything of myself. I eventually started to pick up my phone and record my thoughts. I had thoughts about Metroid. I had thoughts about game design, different cultural things. And so now I'm like, dude, what if I just uploaded my thoughts that way? So anyway, just like looking at life through a different lens, like kind of letting go of like medication, you take your daily YouTubes as medication for, there's like a tension within you. There's this sort of tension that's like, I need some kind of relief, right? I need to feel good again. For some reason I didn't feel good, and I think it's the lack of meaningful experience in life that puts us in this situation. We're looking for something that means something to us, and I think turning your attention to that direction is going to take you away from the doom scrolling. It's going to take you away from the speed, the pace of life, where you're always thinking about the next thing. What's the next thing? The next thing is coming. Why are you worried about it? Like, it's kind of like that, where what you're looking for is finally, all these checklists, all this treadmill, for it to just fucking stop for a second so you can breathe, right? And what it takes is for you to decide, no, fuck you. The treadmill stops now. And you just sit in your own silence. Let your thoughts wander. And gaming is a good way to like kind of feel that as well. These sorts of games, I mean, specifically, like, I think that's what might have drawn me to these sorts of games, because, like, you know, growing up, I was always like being brought to church, brought to school, all these different things. It's like not even my choice, and like so much was like, oh, did you do your homework? Did you do this, that, the other thing? And then none of it. Here's the problem with it, is none of it mattered to me. I didn't care if I did my homework. The only reason to care is that someone else cares if I do my homework, and they're gonna hurt me. not like physically, usually, but like, you know, like your teacher, they're gonna give you bad grades, you're gonna flunk out of school, and you know your life's gonna be ruined, bro. You're not gonna get a job. You're gonna, you know, that's the fear that they try to like sell to you. But I had Metroid, man. I had these sorts of games, which Minecraft was another big one, and you know, these puzzle games as well, like the Valve games as well to some degree. But just a game that won't tell you have to do anything. You know, a game where you're just here to feel the solitude. It's that just the mysteriousness of the game, the depths. Like, it kind of, because for a while it felt like it was like a dark, depressing feeling. You know, the solitude, right? I don't think it's that way. I don't think it's like, because that's how people would frame it when they would talk about Metroid. They're like, oh yes, this sense of isolation, and like it's scary, like it's this terrible thing that you're experiencing, like a horror game. I mean, even with a horror game, right? There's still, you're drawn to it, I think, for the similar kind of atmosphere. At least some horror games, where yeah, it's about kind of the mystery of this environment that you're in. You're like going through Scorn, or you're going through PT, or you're going through some of these games where you're like, what the fuck is this game even? What's going on here? And you're solving puzzles. You're really immersed in that way. It's just cool. I think it's just cool. But yeah, being able to take life slower, you know? Being able to find what things mean to you. And if you follow that, if you take meaning as the thing you're looking for, I think you're going to go far. So I got this idea of meaning because I had this conversation with Eric Rogers. He's on YouTube. He has his own Discord server, but he was speaking to me about, of all things, sexual pleasure, right? And he's talking about how meaning needs to be found again. People live their lives without meaning. And I think that is honestly a result of these twisted ethics, where it's like the thing you don't want to do, because you don't want to do it, that's why it's the right thing to do. You know, this is a sort of attitude towards life put forward by Immanuel Kant, where it's like the degree of your suffering is evidence of your virtue, you know? And that's just destroyed a lot of areas of life where we're supposed to be getting pleasure from life. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to have joy with our lives. Yeah, and this search for meaning is twisting that back around, where it's not like suffering won't happen on the road to your goals, right? But that's not the point. The point isn't that you suffer, even if suffering has to happen for some goal. No, the point is you have some kind of meaningful attachment to the goal, you know? Like, it's not the grind. See, the grind is what that whole thing, like suffering equals virtue type thing. It's not about the grind. It's I think I'm kind of outlining. Hopefully it's clear what I'm saying. But this is just kind of like the broader life philosophy that I'm discovering. And I'm noticing how Metroidvania has kind of contributed and helped me get there, you know? It has helped me get there in a big way. It's provided that space for me to just slow down. And that's why it has been among my favorites for a long time. It's kind of low-key, you know? You don't notice it at first. You just... But, you know, over time you're like, wow, that is a really good game. It just felt nice, you know, to play. And then, as you start becoming more aware, you're just like, let's try to approach this game, because I'm seeing this trend is people are trying to slow down. On YouTube, I'm seeing a lot of. This is also probably a result of where my headspace has been. But I've invested a lot of thought into mindfulness in gaming. And actually, on my YouTube channel, I did put up a playlist called Mindful Gaming. If any of you want to watch that, that's really, yeah, that would be cool. So, yeah, I'm kind of feeling inspired to continue that, and I'm trying to approach my game development in a similar way. I want to be mindful and pleasurable about my game development. I need to appreciate and enjoy the process, right? So I'm gonna want to approach like the level design, the rooms, the layouts, from this idea of the diorama. I think I mentioned that earlier. That's what I'm thinking I want to do, is make each room its own diorama, and the next room is a sequel, and then the room after that is the sequel to that. And it just kind of flows like that, and you got this, each room having its own artistic identity, its own point to it. And I think that's the way I want to go about it. I'm fairly certain that that's what Retro Studios must have done to make Metroid Prime such a rich experience. So, anyway, that's a side tangent. But I think I illuminated kind of this idea of games that leave you alone. Games that leave you the fuck alone. So, yeah. Hope I've inspired someone, right?